right, Casey, it's time to pass the hat. We are playing another round of our favorite game, Hat GPT. Hat GPT, of course, is our game where we pick tech headlines out of a hat, we riff on them, and we eventually yell at each other to stop generating.
Which they don't even say in ChatGPT anymore, sadly. It's already become a throwback expression.
Yes. So let's use this week our brand new, very pretty hard fork hats. Casey, would you like to tell the people where they can get one of these?
You can go to nytimes.com/hardforkhat, Kevin. And if you haven't already, become a subscriber to New York Times Audio. And in exchange for that and a full year of all the great podcasts, including the entire Hard Fork back catalog, we will send you this very hat.
Yes. It will not have slips of paper inside it, though.
Or will it? There's only one way to find out.
God, we're merging them in the same person. It's terrible. Okay, so I'm going to put the slips in.
Okay.
Jiggle them around a little bit there, mix them up. And then why don't you pick the first one?
All right. LeBron James lawyer sends cease and desist to AI company making pregnant videos of him. This is from our friend Jason Keebler at 404 Media. He writes, the creators of an AI tool and Discord community called Interlink AI that allowed people to create AI videos of NBA stars says that it got a cease and desist letter from lawyers representing LeBron James. AI-generated videos of James, Kevin, included scenes like James as a homeless person, James on his knees with his tongue out, and James lying on a couch clutching a pregnant belly. So I guess my first question here is, who is LeBron James? Just kidding. He's a very famous basketball player. Kevin, what do you make of this?
So this is obviously going to be a thing for celebrities. They do not like their names and likenesses being used without their permission, and especially if what you're doing with LeBron James's name and likeness is turning him into a pregnant person. Did you watch any of these videos?
I did see a couple of them.
They're very disturbing.
Some of them, I think, are like on the end of the spectrum that is just like sort of like surreal and funny. And then some of it is like also just like racist and horrible. And regardless of all of that, it's clear that LeBron James did not give permission for this. And it's an interesting story because as far as we know, this is one of the first known times that a celebrity has objected to the misuse of their likeness by an AI company.
Yeah, and I am worried that it seems like they have automated the jobs of the MPreg community. MPreg is of course
what is that? I've been meaning to ask you about that.
It's a niche fan fiction thing that for years people have been sort of creating these like animated fan fiction cartoons of like Sonic the Hedgehog becoming pregnant. Why are they doing this? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Not an MPregger myself, but there were a lot of hardworking MPreg artists out there who now have been put out of jobs by these AI tools. So for that reason, and that reason alone, I think we should take a hard stand.
I now want to say retroactively to my parents, do not listen to this segment.
And definitely don't Google MPreg.
All right, stop generating.
Okay, next up. Oh, this is a fun one. Sam Altman warns there's no legal confidentiality when using ChatGPT as a therapist. This one comes from TechCrunch. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, went on the popular podcast by Theo Vaughn last week, where he acknowledged that OpenAI might be legally required to produce a user's conversations with ChatGPT in the case of a lawsuit. Now, I saw this clip going around, and I thought Sam Altman continues his terror campaign against the Hard Fork podcast. As you will remember, at our live show, he burst onto stage and then peppered us with questions about this lawsuit between OpenAI and the New York Times, which has resulted in OpenAI having to retain conversations between ChatGPT and its users. He's very upset about this, doesn't want this kind of document retention to be required, and has started advocating for the privacy guarantees that AI companies should be allowed to make with their users.
Look, this one is important because a lot of people already are using these chatbots as therapists. They're having therapy-style conversations. And I think most people are not thinking a lot about what is happening to that data. Some companies may want to erase that data for, user protection reasons. Other companies might want to keep it forever and create a detailed profile about you and then rent some information to advertisers. So I would love to see some kind of legal intervention, regulatory intervention come down and say, you're allowed to use information submitted to chatbots in these ways. Users should have a full view into what a chatbot knows about them, what kind of information is being stored about them. They should be able to delete it, right? We just need a lot of like data and privacy stuff around this sort of thing. And so I have to say, I'm grateful for Sam Altman for at least saying like, hey, by the way, you don't have legal protections here.
Yes, we are allowed to use data however we want in training our models, but God forbid, anyone else want to use data about our users after the fact.
All right, stop generating. Great. How to catch a wily poacher in a sting. A thermal robotic deer. This is from James Finelli at the Wall Street Journal. Wildlife enforcement officers turned to a Wisconsin taxidermist to make remote-controlled robots that look like wild animals to catch poachers, Kevin. To make his decoys, a man named Brian Wolslegel applies the skin of a dead animal to a mold made out of polyurethane. He affixes glass eyes and plastic ears. The circuitry to make the decoys move comes from parts for remote-controlled cars. With some AA batteries, officers can remotely operate the Bambi bots. Kevin, would you be interested in one of these to ward off some of the poachers on your property?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of poaching attempts made against my livestock, and I won't be standing for it. So I'll be buying one of these.
Here's where this man's real opportunity is. He needs to use the same technology to build decoy AI researchers and put them in OpenAI so that when Mark Zuckerberg comes onto the property, he mistakenly poaches one of the robots instead of one of the human researchers. Yes. So if I'm Sam Altman, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. In general, I think like robot animals, I'm not a big fan of. There's actually on my block, there's a guy with a robot dog. He runs like a STEM program for kids, and I've seen him like walking his robot dog out on the street. It's very disconcerting. Let's just say
top 10 signs you live in the Bay Area, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Let's just say these things are not entirely lifelike yet, and they do still give you the willies.
All right. Stop generating.
Did a guy just save a picture of a bird to a bird's brain? This one comes to us from Sean Hollister at The Verge. It's about a YouTuber named Ben Jordan, who has a popular channel about music and acoustic science, who was able to get a bird, a starling, to reproduce a spectrogram image in sound. Casey, did you hear about this story?
This is actually my favorite story of the week.
What happened?
So, if I get this straight, the YouTuber converts an image into a sound. He then plays the sound for a bird. The bird then repeats the sound. And so, in that way, you can say that the YouTuber was able to store an image in the bird's brain. He used the bird as a data transfer device, like it was like a disk drive.
Yeah. So so you almost got it right. Because what happened is he takes this drawing of a bird, he converts it into a spectrogram, then he plays that sound for the bird mimics it back, and then he takes that recording and turns it back into a spectrogram. So he's essentially going image to sound, transfers the sound to the bird transfers it back, converts it back into an image. Now, Casey, why would you do something like this?
Because you have a YouTube channel and you're trying to get a lot of subscribers. Now, how close was the image, the second image to the first image?
Apparently it was quite close. This was like, the bird is a little bit of a lossy compression device, but you actually were able to sort of like recognize it as a line drawing of a bird after the fact, which is kind of amazing.
Honestly, hats off to this person. What a bizarre idea. But fantastic.
Yes. I uploaded an episode of our podcast to a bird.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's called Hard Stork.
Okay, sure. Why not? Stop generating.
All right, you're up.
Okay. Meta is going to let job candidates use AI during coding tests. This is from Jason Keebler at 404 Media again. Meta told employees that it is going to allow some coding job candidates to use an AI assistant during the interview process, according to internal Meta communications. On an internal message board for the company, there was a post that called for mock candidates, because apparently they're going to let employees, do one of these sort of AI assistant interviews so they can work out all of the kinks. So looks like Meta's going all in on using AI coding agents to write code, and also is just not going to try to stop people from cheating on their job entrance exams anymore.
This is total Roy Lee victory.
Absolutely.
So this is like a vindication of what Roy told us when he came on the show several months ago, which is that these leak code interviews are totally cooked because now people can just use these tools like the ones Roy Lee is developing to cheat on their interviews. I guess Meta is sort of seeing the writing on the wall and saying, you know what, go ahead, use your AI. We'll design our new test, which I think is probably a good outcome. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm interested to see how this affects the candidates that they attract, the quality of the engineers that they can recruit. You know, I am ultimately persuaded that people are going to be using these tools in the workplace anyway, so why not use them when you're doing the actual test to get the job?
Now, do you think they make the people who are making $1 billion a year take the tests when they come in?
Yeah, they just give them the really hard version. They say, if you do a good job, we'll give you $1 billion.
God, what a weird thing. Yeah. Can you imagine being onboarded to a new job and like you go through the training and it's like, you know, here's your benefits package and you're just sitting there thinking, I'm making $1 billion.
Yeah, they're like, do you want to put anything in your health savings flex account this year? What about the commuter benefit? Do you want the $40 for BART this month?
You're like, I'm making $1 billion, people. I'm not sitting through the IT training. Okay. Stop generating. Here's one, Kevin. This is from Taylor Lorenz at User Mag. Substack sent a push alert encouraging users to subscribe to a Nazi newsletter that claimed Jewish people are a sickness and that we must eradicate minorities to build a white homeland. Oh, boy.
Yeah. And, you know, I have to say, Kevin, rarely have I felt so smug in my entire life as I did when I read this story. Longtime listeners to the Hard Fork Show may know that I moved Platformer off of Substack last year after some other folks had found a bunch of pro-Nazi websites on the network, and Substack would not commit to doing any proactive searching for these blogs to get rid of them. And the main reason that I wanted to leave was I thought, these people are building amplification features, and inevitably, they're going to just start promoting these things, and it might be unwitting, and it might be intentional, but either way, I don't want any part of it. And so now, sure enough, a bunch of people who had the Substack app installed yesterday just got a ringing endorsement for a Nazi blog.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Now, Substack did basically say that this was a huge mistake, and they took the offending recommendation system offline, and they're going to rejigger it so it doesn't happen again. But it did happen, and I feel quite vindicated.
They did not see it coming.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
All right, stop generating.
All right, last one. Why Amazon wants an AI bracelet that records everything you say. This comes from Nicole Wen at the Wall Street Journal. Amazon is acquiring a company called Bee. Bee makes a wearable device, BEE, that transcribes all the conversations in your day, including when you talk to yourself. It then uses AI to turn that giant word soup into a searchable history, offering up key events and even to-do lists based on your chatter. Friend of the pod and Wall Street Journal reporter Joanna Stern reported on her own experience testing out the Bee bracelet earlier this year. She described it as impressively useful and also, quote, really fucking creepy. Casey, what do you make of this bracelet, and will you be buying one?
I'm not going to buy one for myself. You know, generally I don't want a detailed record of everything that I say during the day. You know, one of the reasons why we podcast is so that most of what I say can be edited out, you know? So the idea that I would just sort of have this unfiltered record, you know, stored in an AWS bucket doesn't really appeal to me. Also, as I read the reviews of these devices from Joanna and others, nobody really seemed like they were getting a lot of value out of it. It was like, oh yeah, I like told my husband I should get milk, and like now I get an email that's like, hey, remember you want milk. It's like, is that really worth, you know, giving up all of your privacy in perpetuity?
Well, and all the privacy of everyone that you talk to
yes,
throughout
exactly.
the day. Like that is the worst part of this. Like I have at times been recording interviews and like accidentally left the voice memo running for like an hour afterwards, and it's never that it's that interesting, but sometimes it does catch other people's conversations in there, and then I feel bad about it and delete it. But with the Bee bracelet, this is the whole point. It's just logging you all the time. I don't think people are going to be that excited about that.
Well, here's what I'm looking for is for keeping the Bee on you at all times to be a condition of continuing to work at the Washington Post, owned by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, because they're going through a lot of turmoil right now, and there's a lot of people who are like leaking stuff to the media. So I think it's going to be like, hey, we need to check your Bee. What have you been saying about us?
So it sounds like you are not going to be on the early beta tester list for the Amazon bracelet. Maybe I will.
I'll be minding my own beeswax.
Stop generating.
Okay.
And that's HatGPT.
Yay!
Thanks for playing.
Good job.
Love these hats.
We won again. It is a
What's that they
competition.
used to say on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Where everything's made up and the points don't matter?
That's right. HatGPT, very similar.
You know, my 3-year-old is very obsessed with winning and losing.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, every time we do anything, he says, I won, you lost. So I'm going to start doing that with you.
Hey, that's the end of this clip. If you liked what you saw, head on over to our page and subscribe, and you can get the full podcast. We do a show like this almost every week on tech and the future. Head on over there now and subscribe.